I'm a mathematics educator. Yes, that's what I specialize. I specialize in mathematical modeling and
recording stopped.
Modeling. And these things
recording in progress.
That are very, very important. So I recommend the authors very well on this their work, and I said that they should go beyond STEM to STEAM and STEAMY.
Recording stopped.
And we should see how best we can incorporate all this
recording in progress.
Our curriculum. So that is what I have to say for now, because culturally relevant pedagogy is very, very good. So they are seeing in terms of cultural technology context plus. Yes, that is good. But we call it ethno-mathematics or ethno-modeling. Incorporating indigenous knowledge into mathematics, because in South Africa, they live in the hut houses known as the Randavol houses. That's the indigenous home. And the whole of that, I've worked on it, I've published papers, is full of mathematics. If you just look at the whole of the building, it's geometry. The whole building is geometry. Then you are going to teach area of a rectangle, of a cone, then you are talking to them and they see it abstract. Meanwhile, they live with it. They live with these things. Then they see them in abstract. Meanwhile, they are just practical. So I like this summit that the AAU has come out with, and I like what the authors have also come out with. I'm so happy. I really appreciate their work. But I'm saying that Ghana, Nigeria, let's move away from STEM to STEAM and STEAMY. So the STEM, we are adding A, arts, making it STEAM. Then we add E to the end, STEAMY, entrepreneurship education. And that way it will help Africa higher education. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bukari, for your comments. Dr. Amma would have to leave us shortly. So Dr. Amma, I will throw it up to you to kindly just give us some remarks. So you can
yes. My sincere apologies that I may have to leave at some point, but I just want to add a comment to the last speaker's thoughts. Thank you for sharing your own experience. In fact, beyond steam, let's steam it, let's fry it, let's boil it, let's roast it. That's the essence of CTCA. The C in it is talking about not just culture, but indigenization. So within whatever context that a people group find themselves, that they believe that we can rely on these indigenous methods to help ourselves. As he has explained, in South Africa, they found it needful to put in the arts, to put in the entrepreneurship. So when you situate learning within a certain indigenous or cultural context, what would work for that people group if they require entrepreneurial skills, if they require leadership skills, if they require agricultural skills? Throw it in there and build your curriculum around it. I think the big challenge we have had on our continent, and largely, I dare say, in the global south, is that we are very hasty in adopting not just technology and also financial support and everything from outside our own region. But this has even transcended to learning, to educational curricula which are not contextualized for us. Let's have a quick departure from that and look at contextualizing what will work for us. That is where the transformation of our societies and communities will come. Thank you very much, Doc. It's been a great pleasure sharing these thoughts with you.
Thank you, Dr. Amma. And just to reiterate, I think it's a science summit session. I'm just a convener here, and this is my session. We are on the platform of the Science Summit New York 2025. So not the AAU per se, it's a Science Summit. So I would say if there's any acknowledgement, acknowledge the Science Summit, and that would be okay.
I actually thought you were going to arrest us for now throwing in entrepreneurship and arts, but that's fine.
Thank you so much. Dr. Rutechi said she loves the STEAMY idea. Well, this is the point where, audience, you can actually put your hand up and then share your views and comments, or if a question you have about CTCA, we would want to, yes, Adelo will, let's hear you.
Dr. Agema, please,
yes.
Can I take my leave now?
Okay, Doc. Okay, Doc. That is okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Dr. Adelo, let's hear from you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I must appreciate the speakers for the presentations. It was awesome. Like, I gained a lot from the weight of experience. And the issue where I would just want to come in is the issue of we've forgot the past. We dwell more on the present. Because while growing up, I knew that time the way they teach us in school, in primary and secondary school level, they don't teach us with abstracts. But here, presently in Nigeria, when you go to majority of secondary schools, even what they are teaching, the person teaching does not even understand. So that is the problem we are having now. The person taking something does not understand what is taking. So how can that person pass the message? Because then they don't teach us in abstract. You see what they teach you. If they want to teach you about the flag of Nigeria, it will have been drawn on, on a whether cardboard, on painted in the classroom. You'll be seeing it. They will be pointing, this is Africa, this is where Ghana is located. But now, everything is in abstracts. They teach you in biology about leaf, in agriculture leaf. You don't even see that leaf. So all these things, it's drawn from the policy side, and we have to be sincere with ourselves to meet with the global standard. Students are just trying. It's not easy for Africa. That is why I credit the researchers. Researchers do go extra mile through collaboration to meet up with the global standard. So it still draws us back to our policy and translating policy into action. And everything, it's also drawn from us and all the sectors too. And I believe we'll get there with all, our work, with all hands joined together, even translating from every sector to STEM, to adding entrepreneurship to our programs. And I believe this will really make us to go far. Thank you so much. I want to appreciate everyone again. Thank you for the message you have passed across. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Adewoye, for your comments.
If I may come in, I see that Dr. Hamidou has posted that he used pineapple fruit to teach Fibonacci sequence, and then that can be implemented in Ghana. I think that alongside our discussions, one of the things that we've been trying to achieve is to document all these indigenous knowledge systems in a place or in a way that makes it easier to guide other researchers or even teachers. Because, for instance, if anytime you go into the classroom, you want to talk to a teacher about a concept or about how to use the approach, the first thing that we'll have to do is to be able to span the entire lesson or set of lessons and have this kind of indigenous knowledge systems or indigenous knowledges that can be able to guide the teacher to teach the course. So the documentation of this, like Dr. Hamilton just posted here, we're now looking to catalog each ones in biology, in physics, in computer science. And now that we're adding art and entrepreneurship or leadership, we'll then have to expand the scope of this cataloging to be able to capture this knowledge. It serves as a bank for any researcher that would like to test the approach, would like to adopt that in his classroom, would like to be innovative in the approach that he teaches the student to, that we say, increase the interest. As a teacher, perhaps we cannot even wait on the government for policies to change because they never do. They almost never do. So individual teachers can simply move on to that. You do not need writing permission to be able to implement this individually. Right. So thank you very much for your comment, Dr. Hamidou. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Timothy with the King. Go ahead, put your camera on. Let's see you.
All right. Yeah, good morning once again to to the
Morning.
panel members. I think research well done and well presented. I think I have not largely come across this CTCA as something which is evolving within the education sector. I'm getting to hear of it really for the first time through this medium. And I think it's a good call that we could all adapt to help improve on our teaching pedagogies. But I think just going through within this short period, I wanted to really understand what the plus was. And Emmanuel was trying to explain it. But I think what I'm also getting from what the plus has to do, in addition to the CTCA itself, yes, so we are adapting our own cultural settings as far as our teaching methodology and things are concerned. But we shouldn't just end it there. The plus for me is also looking at how we can also look at from other cultures in terms of collaboration, as you made mention of, so that our students would also have the perspective of what the other cultures would also have in that field. So we are opening up, even though we are looking at our indigenous context here, the plus will then open it up for other cultures that will be needed to be embedded in it. So, like you said, Audrey said, yes, the teachers themselves understanding what they are teaching and how they go about these things, principally as is the bane of some of these novelties that we come up with. Just publishing and leaving it out there, thinking that authorities will read and understand what we have published, normally doesn't work. I know we now have the Ghana National Research Fund that has been set up. I would want to advise, because it's part of the research fund is set up largely for this term promotion in research. So I would advise you guys in this area to start thinking of exploring that angle, so that your research would really come out and to carry weight. Then it can be embedded into the national agenda of Ghana in terms of the education. If not, we would be publishing and it would just be out there. Like, for example, I have been teaching for all this. So I use all these things you are talking about. But I mean, catching it as CTCA is something I have not come across. But what you are saying, teaching with the practical aspect of it, we've been doing it. That if you want it to become part of us, and government to really accept it, it's not just about publishing it and putting it out there online for people to see. Let's try to use the Ghana National Research Fund approach to see if we would be able to push it for it to be accepted into education. Anyway, thank you very much and good work.
Thank you very much, King, for your comment. I think that your inquiry into the plus, you have brought a very unique perspective, but let me just throw it back to my panelists to just give more emphasis on the plus. What exactly is the plus?
So, yes, Dr. Fletcher, please do.
I'll start, but we cannot finish that discussion without hearing from Dr. Ajimani himself. Okay, so basically, I think we've gone through the CTCA processes. What the plus is saying is that it should not just end there. We need to introduce something else that would sort of be like a reward to the students after all that engagement, after putting them in groups. So the CTCA goes through specific steps, specific processes that we have to follow. One of which requires that you put them in groups for them to discuss. They appoint, one person who would come back as the leader. What this session is doing is also building other skills like collaboration, like leadership skills, making sure students are learning other soft skills even as they go through the CTCA process. So the plus is saying that whilst they come back to report, whilst they go through all of that, can we add a reward which would then make them be more excited, be more engaged, to want to learn deeper, so that they are in the process. Of course, their achievements are improving and their attitudes are also coming up. So the plus is just I would say it's a reward system. It can be that, of course, it's not necessarily giving them money. It can be, some form of recognition, some form of a leadership role, or various things that you think as applicable in the context, which would be an award to a particular student or a student group that would emerge as winners for doing so well in the particular course outcome. That is the plus. But I think, like I said, I don't know if Dr. Ekwam wants to add on, but mainly I would love to hear from Dr. Ajiman as well. So Dr. Ekwam, maybe you can come in and Dr. Ajiman caps it.
Yes, I think you've rightfully expanded on that pertaining to the plus, simply as a reward system. But I also want to refer to a point that you also made in terms of going beyond our own indigenous knowledge systems, say in Ghana, to then introduce the others from the other cultures. I know that in most instances you also have to pick across examples from other cultures. You see, like in computer education, like writing a simple marriage proposal software, we found that the cultural practices across different African cultures, they differ a lot. So we tend to bring the examples from different ones and then see how no single program should be the same as the other one. See how the student can then be able to come up with different examples. Some sort of effort to use creativity, other disciplines that we've also explored this in. Essentially, the teacher is at liberty to introduce other examples from other cultures, other examples that can increase it by the conversation. And most importantly, trying and get the student themselves to share their own cultural backgrounds and how it is done in their own culture. So at any given classroom, Ghana alone is very culturally diverse. Nigeria is even way more diverse. You have people from different cultural backgrounds. And so the classroom becomes a marriage of all these examples and how all these apply in their different cultures. And that is how the conversation usually goes up. And then the teacher then now sees, okay, which examples are then relevant to the scientific issue that we are discussing, what misconceptions may have been formed by their ancestors in explaining how the universe works or how science works. And then those clarifications are then made, and then we can then now move on to this technical concept that are being spoken about. Thank you.
Thank you. And let me just buttress the point you made with the reason behind the plus. You know, in a typical classroom setting where you have students who are willing to start with the known to the unknown space, there is one thing you can do to enhance their attitude. Before achievement, there has to be super attitude. So if attitude is nil or is poor, achievement is bleak. So how then do you stimulate attitude for achievement? That is why the plus came in. That if I introduce a reward system where the best student who is able to do well in contribution or ideation sharing, that student stand a chance to win something, or that group of students will win something that can help them enhance their stance in the class or their achievements in the class. How would that be? And in the research, when it was tested, when reward came to play, the students were so, I would say, they were so rigorous in studies. They were so eager to contribute. They were eager to go and do research and then come and share their findings because they wanted to achieve something. At the long run, their motivation level was high. So, you know, the Vroom's expectancy theory was used as a basis that when reward comes in, when expectation is presented, performance grows. So that's the model that we use, and that is what we have accepted, that if the plus is attached to CTCA, then you have students' attitude positive, and that's the point for you, Dr. King, for what you said. But also what Mr. Ekwam mentioned, that even with the plus, we can further open it to be trying to involve other cultures, because it also expands their knowledge to appreciate and have knowledge of other cultures. However, you still want to find a way to motivate them to be very, very involving and inclusive. Thank you very much. We can still take more questions and more comments from our audience. If you are here within a higher education space, you're in a research space, within a policymaking phase, you want to share your views, you want to also add your 2 cents to this conversation. The room is open. I can see lots of academics that I know, the likes of Dr. Rutechi. Dr. Techi, you're welcome. Mr. Schneider, you're welcome. Sir Little, you're all here. I believe you've all listened and appreciated the session. Any comment you want to pass, any questions you have on the session, we'll be glad to answer. Thank you very much. Go put your hands up and then we'll hear from you. All right. Go ahead, Steven. I think we lost Steven. Okay.
Coming back. Hope you can hear me. I'll turn the camera on. Right. Yeah, thank you very much. It's been a really very valuable session for me. I'm working with colleagues down in South Africa, Shriner University of Technology, at the other end of the education cycle, if you like, with graduating engineering students, where we're tasking them with creating a technology venture with the skills they're acquiring from their studies. So it's very much the E in the STEAM at the end there. And it strikes me from the opening conversation that to close the loop, to bring that experience back to the early years of study, to inspire students, to make the connection between their learning of mathematics and scientific frameworks, to show what it can lead to in a life course, I think would be a very, very nice way of, if you like, closing the learning loop, feeding back from each generation to the succeeding generations. And there's an interesting example of how big science can be part of this process. The Africa-Europe Radio Astronomy Project, which has the Square Kilometre Array in South Africa as an outreach, which uses the fact that in the townships, the one asset people have is the night sky because of the poor level of infrastructure. There isn't a lot of street lighting. And to engage students at the earliest stage of education with the wonders of astronomy is something that they have access to automatically, and to lead them through that pathway into how mathematics and science actually enables us to understand the universe from that perspective. But I think what's most valuable here is making those connecting to the absolutely essential grounding in Indigenous understanding, and to bring those two together. And I think that's one of the big challenges for the continent. And I think the A part in STEAM stands in for all of that Indigenous knowledge and culture that can really add value to, if you like, the essential basis of a scientific framework, but it's enlivened by that connection to lived experience and to culture. So I think this has been a very valuable session for me. Thank you, everybody, for putting it together and contributing.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ledo, for your comments. Really appreciate that. And we're still taking more questions and more comments. If you haven't shared anything thus far, please share your views, your questions about the concept, the pedagogical approach. If you have some other views on Indigenous learning systems, you can please share. Let's see your hand up, then let's take your views. We've got some time. Go ahead, Emmanuel.
Yeah. While we wait on the comments, to stages of the research that we were doing, one of the topics that we explored was using cultural play for early childhood learners too, because it was our belief, it is our belief, or it is the general consensus that interest in science usually begins at the early childhood phase. So we look at a couple of African plays, a couple of things that involved outdoor activities between early childhood learners, and then we liken those scientific activities that are in them. And Stephen's comment as to how the African context, we have you have less pollution in the night sky, and makes it a very good avenue for discussing astronomy or mathematics that comes with it. Reminds me of this because this is still very much applicable to the early childhood phase, where we can look at cultural games, cultural plays, and things that the folklore that behind this place, usually the scientific bearing. Some of them are tagged as taboo, some of them are tagged as things that you cannot do. But essentially, there is a scientific bearing or explanation to why those folklore came to be, and they do help in shaping misconceptions and also increase the interest in early child learners, most importantly, especially when it is done in the local language that the child come into the classroom before they even start learning English or learning a formal language of teaching in the classroom. Thank you.
So much. So this is where time affords us, nice people. Thank you so much for your time and for your participation. Let me just say a very big thank you to Dr. Felicia Nkrumah. Doc, thank you so much for your time and insights. Mr. Emmanuel Chikwam, thank you so much for your insight and time. To Dr. Michael Amma and Dr. Bilayi, who were with us but left earlier on, thank you so much for your time and making it here. To all of our participants who are here, I really appreciate that you all made it here to appreciate the session. If you are here, you want to engage with us further on and research collaboration and also more insights about CTCA Plus, or you also want to, hi Andrew, you also want to get further assistance or training about how you can implement CTCA Plus, do all to dash in your email address in the chat section. Put your email address there, and we will reach back to you, creating other sessions where we can take you through practical measures you can use to adopt the CTCA Plus in your own classroom and enhance attitude and achievement. So just type in the comment section with your email address, and we'll get back to you on that. At this moment, I want to invite every one of you to put your camera on so we can have a good photograph after the session. Please let us all put our cameras on. Let's take a photograph. How the session has been amazing. Let's make history with a photograph, guys. Come on, wherever you are, join us. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, I can see you all. I can see you all. Oh, Mrs. Hanson is here. Let's wait for her. This is for John. Mrs. Hanson, your camera is not on. We're waiting for your camera on so we can take a picture.
Yes, we are done.
And amazing. Nice. More kind of personally. Have a nice day and keep enjoying. Join us to Science Summit, and you will